my friends. We're continuing our broadcast. How Karma Boomerang works. All people now have the results of their previous choices. Many people waited the end of our life on the planet and in 2012. Then it was very destructive year in 2019, and after that, that was the point of no return. Many people made a very destructive choice. But also, there are people on the planet who are spiritually developing. They now are creating the new spiritual development society, and they will survive these hardships that now are coming to our world. Nearest 3 4 years will be the most difficult. But those people who are really spiritually developing, spiritually it means in energy, and they will be helped, they will be saved. And many destructive processes now are preparing for humanity. Different new viruses, infections, wars, and spiritual developing people will survive and overcome all of this. And do you know that this is one of my tasks to prepare such people? And I had been preparing for my work for saving humanity for many years. And during my preparation, I tried to unite my efforts with churchmen, with priests, but then I was so disappointed because I saw that they are not interested in saving and helping humanity. So we started create by ourselves with my family, with my husband. We created our sites, but that were our first steps. But we hurried up very much because we knew that all these hardships are coming, and the time left is very less. And now we are working together with many students from many countries, and all these people are creating the soul, one united spiritual field. And now I'm rejoicing that I managed to create this society of conscious people who give their help and salvation to the world. But there are many people who are not ready to this knowledge, to this work. It is easier for them to blame someone, to pacify themselves with alcohol, with some bad habits or drugs. They don't want to read the books that I recommend, to watch videos or movies. We're trying to do everything for all people who are coming to us, to save them, to heal them. We help absolutely everyone. But then we again are disappointed because we realize that many of them are not ready to be saved, to work on themselves, and to use this help, to take this help. So when we have this deep understanding of everything that's happening, pushes us to help more and more people. Also, we see God in everyone, in every person. And it's true. God lives in every human being, but not every person is ready to reveal and open this divine nature. And of course, when we helped people and did everything to save him, we see how he again drunk and commit very heavy, very difficult actions. Of course, it upset us, but we still accept this mad choice that they made. We understand that such people during this 4 or 5 years will leave this world, this life, in different way, but they will leave this world forever. It means that they will not have any chance to have new life, new incarnation. But we understand that these people are coming for us, that they are led by higher forces, by their guardian seraphims, and we do everything to help them, to help to adapt to new quantum changes on the planet, new quantum vibrations from the cosmos, and not only to live, like survive, but really live a beautiful, wonderful, and happy life. And only spiritually developing people now have such beautiful life. Spiritual development, it means development energetically, revealing and develop your inner energy. And we talked about quantum changes, and now let's talk about new reality that is starting on our planet. Let's talk about our children. Now I observe that 90% of children that now are born, these are the children of the future. Most of them are coming, 90% of them are coming from the higher dimensions. Their souls are coming from the higher spaces. And they will help their parents, and when they grow up, they themselves will create a new world, new society, new environment, new technologies. And when people ask me, my learners ask me, how we will live after the quantum transition, the world will be very beautiful. And after 12, 13 years, after very serious hardships and disasters on the planet, will be the process of very serious revival. We can compare this when a wave is fading away and then the sun is coming out and you feel this rejoice, this joyful mood and revival of the nature. So it will be the same process. These small children who are now very small, then they will grow, they will become psychics. They will have open, even now they have extrasensory abilities. They feel and see thoughts of other people. That's why when a child sees a destructive, aggressive person, he is crying. When he sees a kind person, he is approaching to this person. So they feel other people. Also, they are much stronger energetically in their energy potential than people who were born 30, 50, or 70 years ago. So when these children will grow up and when they will be 18 years old, 20, 25, we will see that this will be people of the future. All of them will lead healthy lifestyle, and after all these hardships that we can call karma boomerang, they will rethink life. People who will survive all this rethink and will evaluate this life, appreciate this life. And people who will not degrade, but who will become conscious, they will really appreciate life. And now you can observe that now the healthy lifestyle is again becoming very trendy. So this is a trend to lead a healthy lifestyle, not to drink some chemical carbonated drinks as Coca-Cola or alcohol or do sport. So many developed people are very careful to themselves, to their health. They try to eat only natural, pure food, take care of themselves. And what does it mean? It means that they understand this life. They rethought and appreciate this life. They understood that to overcome and to cope with these quantum transformations, they need to take care and pay attention to their nutrition, be very careful with their thoughts because they observed and noticed how thought become very powerful, very effective, and come true much faster. materialize their reality. But friends, I did not tell you about these 10, 13 years that are leading to this wonderful future. These years will be very difficult, especially the nearest 4, 5 years. But it depends on choice of many, many people. This is the most important issue. Many people create our future because everyone makes their own choice. And people who are developing, who are conscious, they will have opportunity to learn, to prepare and overcome these quantum changes and disasters. They will be given knowledge and teachers. They will master mechanisms, energy practices that will create them energy protection field. And then they will be able to help not only themselves but their loved ones, their family members, and other people who are ready to this knowledge, to this help, to these transformations. But unfortunately, there are so many people who have made their choice and they could not be saved. They will not be able to pass these transformations of our planetary life. And now I want to emphasize on processes of the final quantum transition flash. This is the very powerful wave of energy from the cosmos. And these very powerful vibrations of light will create very serious transformations in people and on the planet itself. These transformations will allow people to live much longer, and it was in the past. And now many scientists who are studying, discovering different ancient relics that relics of people in ancient Egypt, for example, they concluded that people in the past lived much longer, 500, 800 years. And in the future, after the quantum transition, people will live much longer, 200 years, 500, 800, 1000 years, and a little later, 1500 years. So these new quantum waves from cosmos, they will activate new DNA programs in human organism. These new programs will activate new abilities where quickly your body will produce new cells. That's why the rejuvenating processes, renovating processes in your body will become much faster. If now, when you're approaching to the old age, all processes in the human body are slowing, then it will be opposite process. So these new vibrations from the cosmos, this will be new codes, new programs. And now I remembered about the book Keys of Enoch. There is information about this in this book, about the coding of the humanity by new cosmic programs, and after that, people will live much longer. And so, friends, it's also one of the proofs of this. It's not the fairy tales. There are such books that can prove you this information. Also, I can tell you, friends, that after the completion of the quantum leap, the life on the planet will be renovated, will be recovered. There will be a lot of new processes of your life. There will not be transport that use engines that are driving on the roads. You will be transporting and flying above the surface of the earth. It will be like energy channels of etheric, compressed etheric energy. So this compressed state of ether in this channel will use for this flying processes, for these new vehicles and transports. and they will be accelerating very quickly. So you will move with the speed of light, speed of the sound. And many more developed civilizations in the cosmos, they know these technologies, they will share these technologies with you. All the spaceships work on this energy of the ether. So, my friends, the future is wonderful. And the most important thing for us, I tell you this with full responsibility, is to help more people on this planet. Why? First, because the more people will stay alive on the planet, they will give more descendants, more children, and thus there will be more conscious, developed people on the planet. And of course, they will accelerate the creation of new life, new conscious and developed life on the planet. That's why, of course, we need to create and spread this knowledge and help to develop more people. And the second, when we develop not quite developed people, but this is of course not uh, so appropriate words. For example, I can compare it with animals. When I observe that animals are developing now, even some homeless dogs can cross the road according to the traffic lights. It means that they also are developing and they started to define colors, although it wasn't such process before. And sometimes I think that now animals are developing quicker than people. And now we have so much degradation on the planet. There is the law of cosmos, free will, the right to choose. And people can choose different degradation processes, but animals, they live only according to the natural laws. So they always will and choose only that will be useful for them. For example, when an animal gets sick, this animal tries to find the herb that it can eat and heal himself. It means that animals live much closer to nature and to natural laws, but people went for very far away from the natural laws and natural processes. And I know that it's not a secret for you. You also know and observe all this. But of course, you can also argue with me, but it's not you, it's your ego that control the minds of people. And I know that now the system has created a lot of processes that lead people to degradation. But do you know what is the fear of the system? That you will know the truth about the system, about the matrix, about all its traps. That's why now lie and deception have become the norm, and now it's even legally. But to be truthful and not deceive people are not so trendy and appropriate and legally. That's why it's not so easy to be a truthful person in our world. Why? Because the most people of the planet are degrading people. If the most of the people on the planet were developed, then the system would not do such destructive processes with people. So, friends, now we're coming to questions, and I will give the floor to Sergei Arkadyevich. He is my dear assistant who always supports me. We always make decisions with him and discuss all the processes of our work and the processes of helping humanity. So I want to wish all wonderful women to have such a support, such a partner, the second half, the soulmate in life. So we give the floor to Sergei Arkadyevich. Voice the questions. Sergei Arkadyevich says that he is embarrassed because of the words in compliment of Natalia Rodina. So let's come to the questions. There were many questions like this, that laws of karma boomerangs, should be very strict and very accurate. But sometimes we see that some people receive boomerang of karma very quickly, but other people are creating so many evil and destructions, but they don't receive some retribution, some punishment, karma boomerang, and even they can die without such an effect. So, friends, I knew that you would ask me such a question. So, let's discuss with you. Let's talk together. I will ask you the questions about your question. How do you think people who are creating evil, they're people of the light or people of the evil? You will say that they're people of the evil. So, people who are creating the evil processes, destructive processes, they cannot receive, sometimes they not don't receive this punishment or karma boomerang in this life, because now this system of destructive process, the matrix, has enslaved the life on our planet. So can die without any punishment, as we can call this, any karma results, but then they will go to the subtle dimension after life, after death. And when a person creates some evil, some destructive processes, it does not disappear anywhere. It just is accumulated in the subtle dimension. And when a person dies, then his soul and his subtle bodies go to that dimension, to that space when he collected the energies, the memory, the effect of all of his actions during the life. And the effect of his actions, all his life processes, are real even after life. So when people are dying, they have the feeling that they returned to their natural state. So when a person did not experience karma boomerang during their life, then his soul delves into that reality that he has created during the life, and he is tormenting in the eternal process. And if here in this material dimension during this life you can change something in your life, so in afterlife experience in subtle dimension you cannot change anything. And imagine if you will go to the room, to some building, when there are only aggressive, hatred people, what they can show and express. They scold each other, they fight with each other, and they create the same torment, sufferings, aggression, fighting. And when such people die, they completely lose their connection with this life, and they just delve into such torment and such a horror when they could not understand what happened to them. They just feel this pain, diseases, suffering, and because such people, destructive people, cannot be healthy. They always die as sick people, and they delve into the same state after life in the subtle space. Sometimes you say that when a person died after very severe illnesses, then you say, thanks God, uh, his suffering ended. Friends, it's not true. When a person died in torment and in suffering, in agony, in pain, then his soul and subtle bodies are continuous uh, suffering in eternity, and they cannot fix it, cannot change it. They are live just in the process of all of his suffering, because this is the laws of the cosmos, and people did not create it. God, the Creator, created this. And when a person stole, killed other people, tormented them, and drank alcohol or used drugs, then got sick, and then he, after death, delves into the same suffering, tormenting, pain, horror, and other people surround him. They are the same murderer or destructive people, alcoholic people who torment him and hurt him. And this is the most important problem of people, that you have no ability to see this life in afterlife experience, because you have no medium ability, although you can master it and open this ability. Like my learners who have been studying with me for a long time, they can delve, they can see to any dimension of life where people live after death, even into the hell, into the purgatory, and they can prove my words to you. I can recommend you a very wonderful film that is based on real events, The Flatliners. Maybe you will realize something about it. So friends, this karma boomerang exists for everyone, and you will not avoid it, you will not escape it. And I can tell you that it's much easier to experience this boomerang in this life, because when a person dies and he experiences all this retribution and afterlife experience, it's much harder, because if here you can find some help or some advice, someone can help you and support you, but afterlife there are no spiritual people with you, and around you will be only mad people, the same people, unconscious, very destructive, like the same people like you were. Also, I recommend the film Our Home, the Astral City, but it's just a very light, very simple example that shows you afterlife experience. So it's not so horrible as it is in reality. I can tell you that there are so hard dimensions, so horrible, only a horror, only cold and torment and suffering. I can tell you, friends, because I have the ability to see these spaces, these dimensions. But when I see the souls of people there, I see there is the reasons of their tormenting. It means that they all deserve such results in afterlife experience. And why does this horror exist? Because the matrix system created the tormenting for people here and after life experience. In principle, this system of the matrix creates this horror, suffering, and shock, diseases here in afterlife, subtle dimensions. If here you feel the shock for 5 minutes, after life, your soul dwells in this and feel it in eternity, in a timeless state. And I'm sure that if people could see this experience that they feel after death, I think they would become saint people instantly. And there are people who had the death experience and then they returned, they were uh, returned from death, they revived again. For example, there is a documentary film, I Was a Guest of Death, when Valentina Romanova tells about her experience after death because she experienced clinic death. And she was not in very low dimensions, it was a middle space. Also can recommend you the feature film What Dreams May Come. It also shows you the state of people after death. And there is such an episode there when a main character was coming in this subtle dimension to find his deceased wife. He was walking on the heads of some people, and then he tried not to step on this head, and then he recognized his father, and he was shocked when his father was there. And why did it happen? Because when your father or some person is walking over the corpse of other people, over the bodies, it means that they are egoists. It does not matter for them what will happen to other people when they are reach their goals. And if you notice that this law, this rule is accustomed to you, the system even urges you to act like this. So then, after life, such a person will experience the same processes when someone will walk uh, and step on his head. Friends, it's true. You know that I'm always truthful with you, and this is the system that wants to hide this information from you. And I know that if I will lie to people, will deceive someone, I will be responsible for this. I will have the responsibility and retribution for this. So, of course, I try to reveal you the truthful information much more. So, friends, there are many films, many documents and facts that it's true that people have the life after death and the boomerang exists for everyone. So, friends, now change your life, your destinies very quickly. Forgive all people in your life, all your offenders or enemies. There is no time left, and the time is accelerated very much. And also, friends, I want to add one more to this question, although I see that Sergei Arkadyevich showed me that I'm replying very long, but he united several questions. So I want to add one more thing. If people received some retribution, some effect after that wrongdoings, their mistakes and distractions in this material life, it's much easier for them. It means that they experience the same suffering, and when they realized for what reasons they have this suffering, losses, or other distractions, then they we can say that they pay off of their mistakes for their mistakes or distractions. If they did not realize, then they will have even more and more severe fact and suffering. And of course, when we see such a boomerang boomerang, such suffering, it's very sad, especially when we see it in our society, in our community, in our center. And we're not even are not offended by them. We don't have any grievances and resentments because we feel just compassionate because we know what awaits them after death, and we know that boomerang will return to everyone. The next question from Anatoly from Odessa. How to annul that pain and suffering that a person did for other people in the past incarnations? The most easiest method is to love people. The love is the highest state that cleans the soul of the person, the space of his life, and souls of other people. Love is really cleans uh, in reality. And what does it mean to love people? Love them who they are. And it does not matter what vices they have. You just need to try not to judge them and just to love and accept. And this, your state and vibrations of light and love, and now all the suffering that you made to them. The next question: what will happen to children who are not striving to development, into spiritual development? They will also pass the selection. Yes, friends, it will be, they also will pass the very serious selection, and when these children will grow up, will become adults, they also will leave this world, this life, in different way due to different reasons and methods. And now children who are born, they have much stronger energy potential. So when the final quantum transition wave will come, of course, they will not withstand it, but this cosmic energy will add and put into them new programs that will give them the opportunity to have new incarnations. And I had such an experience uh, with children who had very bad and destructive behavior at schools. They had many problems, and I worked with them energetically, and I gave them knowledge, I taught them. And then over time, first teachers were very surprised because they didn't see what I did to these children, how they changed so much after 2 3 weeks. And they could not understand what I did with them. And I just explained them what is life, what are real life processes. I explained him how he will pay for all these actions, destruction that he create. And when he created the suffering to his classmates, this boy was the classmate of my younger daughter. And then she asked me to help him. I worked with him, and then after over time, I you received information that he was the son of my classmate, and then it helped him, and he um, grew up as a very conscious and educated person. And in our center, we also created the direction of starting developing children. My learners, a psychologist who learned with me, they are working with children. And these children, after starting in our children's studio, they're very conscious, they're very calm, they have moral qualities because we're raised in them ethics and yes, it's very difficult for them to adapt to the new states in this quantum transition. But on the other hand, they are very sensitive, and it's very difficult and hard for them to live in this destructive environment. And very often, such children have a very aggressive or heavy temper character only because they cannot bear in this destructive environment, society. And I can tell that we are carrying out our work in different countries. And usually, when I come to another country, new country, I try to observe people who live there, and I see that usually there is no culture, there is no moral values, especially in Europe. People just meet in a restaurant, in cafe, with alcohol, and for them it's just the rest. I did not know that this is the rest. They consider this rest, leisure time when they kill their mind, their brain with alcohol. So most of these people have no ability to think correctly, to realize this life, to analyze. So alcohol kills the neurons of their brain, and brain controls the work of the whole body, and then alcohol intoxicates their bodies, and of course they die very quickly. That's why drug and alcohol abuse are very spread everywhere in the world. So, and not every person is ready to realize this process that he kills himself. So I see that this boomerang returns to every person. And it's not in vain that you live exactly in that country that where you need to receive your boomerang. But if a person is developing, striving to some spiritual development, then everything surrounds him is organized like this that he can move somewhere to change his country, to change his job. He receives help. So it's not the accidental processes. Everyone receives his results, and very quickly, even in more accelerated way. So friends, of course, I realize our responsibility, all our tasks, and in the future we will work with children even more because we understand that future belongs to these children. And when I observe the social environment of these children at school, in families, because first of all, incorrect, destructive relationships of parents are reflected on the psyche of their children. But when a child is born in a right environment, in a family of conscious people who lead healthy lifestyle, this child can change himself. And when I told you about this difficult boy, a classmate of my daughter that I just now told you, his mom came to me for studying, and the situation in the family has changed a lot. And the temper of your son. So, friends, influence on your children. You should be example, the right example to your children, and to teach them properly. The next question from Irina. Irina asks how the physical body will change the body of people who will stay alive after the quantum transition. First, these people will become much more sensitive. Their physical body will become transparent and more subtle, more refined. They will become psychic. All people will have open extrasensory abilities, and you will not communicate more through speech, through your voice and languages, but more mentally. Also, you will eat less because you will more produce and consume etheric energy, because fourth dimension is the etheric dimension, space of more dense ether. The gravity force also will change and will be more refined, not so dense. It will be lighter, lighter gravity on the planet. Also, many new resources will appear on the planet, and on the base of the ether energy, people will create more chemical and physical processes that will improve their life. Also, this will be the world of new technologies that people will manage with the help of their mind, their thoughts, and the force of the thoughts uh, will be increased so much that you will create and manage all devices and technologies with your thought. You will create realities with your thoughts, and it will not be the fantasy, it will be the visible reality with visible forms. For example, like now you see some cities in the sky, like recently China saw such a picture in the sky. What is it? The city in the sky. It's just the technology that shows you how to manage and control and shape the ether energy. But in fact, everything is made of etheric energy. Everything consists of ether energy. Every chemical, physical substance or elements, even this table, this furniture, this glass, everything. And in the future, after 10 and 20 years, you will learn how to manage this energy. Not just once in 1 minute. First, you will pay for these resources, for the ether, for the air, and it will be very soon, friends. So prepare, get ready. But then, over time, you will learn how to skillfully manage the ether energy and create, with its help, the processes of your reality. The next question, Victor from Spain asks, there are many theories now with false information, conspiracy theories. So, how to define that it is true or is the false? I knew yesterday, I knew that you will ask me this question, but I can tell you that first, that the humanity is not ready to hear this answer. First, I can tell you that the future prophets that you see now in the internet, it's not truthful, because many alien beings also are engaged in the life processes on the planet, and they have their own interests. So far it's everything that I can tell you. The next question, Yana from European key region asks, it is true that the soul of a human being can be embodied in the animal body, like as a punishment of his wrongdoings. No, friends, it's not true. A human being has a soul that can live only in a human body. Just we can see that many people can live at the level of animal life in their human bodies that we observe with you. For example, alcoholic people, they are completely turned into the animals. But first, you need to understand all the processes where that your soul has. First, the humans passed the stages of transformations. First, your soul, your consciousness had the stage of life in the stones, in the minerals, mountains, and this is the most compressed state of matter. when your consciousness in a state of embryo. And the book of Initiation by Elizabeth H. The Initiation uh, reveals you a little these processes when she experienced and tells you about her process when she lived in a compressed state in the stone. Then your consciousness and soul uh, was embodied in the state of plant, then in the state of animal. But then your next, the final stage is to live in the human body. So when the soul has passed all these stages, it means that this is your raising process. And when you are raising to the level of the humans, and then due to different reasons you fell to lower levels, then this soul lives in a very destructive, compressed, limited state, undeveloped state, in aggressiveness, fears, and other destructive states. Then, um, through different processes, the person will die and will go to another subtle dimensions where this soul will continue to live in these destructive states. And when Valentina Romanova described her experience after death, he saw the people with the heads of animals. Why? Because people in the subtle dimension even create their own appearance with their vibrations, with their inner state. So when people were an alcoholic people, for example, they were like animals. So in afterlife experience and space, they also will have the same experience. But here in this physical material dimension, it's impossible. People's humans' souls cannot be in the animals' bodies. But also can tell you that some animals can develop to such a high level. For example, we had the dog Musa, that she was so developed that, uh, of course, she did not have the soul of a human being, but animals have the energy body of animal that is preparing to becoming the human soul. What is the soul? This is the part of the divine state, state of the creator. So the soul, this is the energy state, I mean the human soul, has all programs in its potential, the programs of the creator, of God. But the state, energy potential of the animal, this is the spirit, the energy, has some initial state of the soul. So this energy field is raising, is developing, so that in future it will be able to become the human soul. So my dog Musa was developing on my vibrations because I also shared my energy with her. She was developing, so in the next life, next incarnation, she will have, for example, she will be able to be more developed animal, and in the next more incarnation she will be able to embody as a human being, because in the process of different incarnations she will receive the human soul, because during these different lives, different incarnations, she prepared her energy field to become more developed, to become a human being. And friends, I'm telling you a lot about the soul, but I can tell you that always new information will left, because the process of human souls are so great, so multifaceted, and the creator is so great, so multifaceted, so magnificent, And your soul is the state of the creator, because when you describe the state of your soul, we need to describe the nature of the creator. So to describe it in two phrases, even in 1,000 phrases, it will be very primitive and very simple. So what I'm explaining to you now, it's also very simple, very limited, but it means that at your level you can realize and understand only this. When you will develop more, you will know more information about the soul, and you will be more surprised of the greatest potential and possibilities of the creator. And the final question, my friends. Larissa from England asks, uh, do some countries have the Karma Boomerang for the process of killing the light teachers? Friends, have you thought about Israel? Why these lands are suffering for so many years and ages? And when Jerusalem was destroyed completely, that were the boomerang, a karma for those country, for their lands and nation. And friends, how many people who could develop, who had to develop and help humanity, but they kill and destroy them. If they could see their future, what karma boomerang awaits them, they would deny and leave all their money and properties that they have for these destructive processes. But they know that their minds and brain are so poisoned and degraded that they have no possibility and ability to realize it. They're completely dead. Although they can move, can uh, speak, but in fact, in reality, they are dead. And they, because their souls are dead. So they have no ability to realize what happened to them. Even if we will explain them that what happened to them, that they lost their soul. You can say these words and they will hear these words, these phrases, but their brain need to process it, but they have no healthy neurons. Their consciousness, their mind are completely empty, are not even the human minds. They're half on not humans, but just the servants of the dark forces who source to the matrix system. And when I look at them, think about them, I see that I feel just a pity, I feel the sad for them. And they can intimidate you, but friends, the life belongs only to the Creator. And those people who serve the light and love, he cannot be killed, he cannot be destroyed. Even if someone will kill your physical body, it does not mean that you will die. Such people, when they will leave this bio-robot, I mean this physical body, they are rejoicing because they leave this suffering, this horrible world, and their souls are rejoicing. And they feel that finally they returned to their natural state, to their home. And they, in the afterlife experience, they receive love and joy and kindness of all people whom they helped during this life. And this is such a happiness, such a euphoria, enjoyment. When you're enjoying in eternity, you are happy in eternity. So when someone kills spiritual teachers, they just make makes even worse their future. They just add even more karma boomerang. But people who are sovereign to humanity, to this world, to the Creator, they are happy when they die, as it was with Jesus Christ. During one day and night, his soul underwent all transformations and he entered the paradise above. And for the first time, he met his heavenly Father, whom he served, listened to, and then Heavenly Father gave him and sent him all his energy and gave him the ability to be the sovereign ruler of the universe. And then the soul of the Jesus Christ told the Heavenly Father, God, the Creator, that I am appreciated for all your gifts, and let everything will be as you wish, according to your will. That was the Archangel Michael. Jesus, Joseph, Jesus Christ, because the personality of the Archangel Michael in reality lived in the body of Jesus Christ. So, friends, I wish you that you realize all that you create and what will wait you in the future. And remember, friends, that now the time has come to act, and to act very quickly. After new meetings, friends, have a good evening. See you soon. Bye.